Okay, it's all about delivering the information at this point.
Yes, sir. We'll roll with it.
Exactly.
So for some that may not be familiar with you, can you just kind of introduce yourself and what you're all about?
Yeah, my name is Ismael Perez. I am the author of Our Cosmic Origin, which was a book that was recently released about a month and a half ago, explaining the bigger picture, our connection to the stars and the many realms and dimensions that exist out there in the universe as well. And so I've been on this journey pretty much my whole life. You know, I was born with these gifts and abilities, very intuitive and very empathic at an early age. So I suppressed my feelings. I suppressed my abilities when I was young because of organized religion. And then I later started meditating at the age of 19, and little by little my gifts started coming back. And so that's how I became, that's what led me on the path of a spiritual awakening and evolution. And that's what led to the writing of my first book, which I published 15 years ago, and then now my second book, which I just released about a month and a half ago.
So this is the second one. Nice.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so for some of you guys out there that may not know, we've actually known each other in the gym for like, what, maybe 10 years now?
Something like that.
That we're both into spirituality. We're always talking about, you know, protein and how much can you bench press. And then I happened to see you doing a lot talking about this. I'm like, wow, he's talking about my stuff here. So it's nice to connect on this this platform as well. Am I coming through good? Can you hear me? I'm not sure if your audio is still there. All right, let's get in that. Oh, there we go. Now you're coming through. All right, so this first one is a pretty big question. What is Ascension? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
There we go.
So, can you hear me?
Stay in that spot. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Sweet. Okay, so Ascension. It is the process of moving our consciousness into higher densities and levels of reality by evolving consciously. And so in order to understand what Ascension is, first we have to understand that the universe is broken off into different frequencies or bands or planes of reality that distinguish the different levels of consciousness and the different levels of reality. So currently our universe consists or exists in 12 bands or frequencies. And so the first frequency has a lot to do with base matter, which is, the atoms, the molecules, fire, air, water. So that's base consciousness. And then the second level or the second density of consciousness is that of life forms that are limited to focus awareness, and those are the bacteria, the insects, and most of the animal kingdom, and the plant kingdom as well. And then the third level of density are life forms that are limited to a general awareness or capacity to understand, but are aware of themselves as individuals. And that is the current level of reality that humans exist on, which is called the third density level of consciousness. And the thing that is associated with that is the idea that we are only associated with the individual aspect of ourselves, and we are limited by this type of idea of linear existence. Now, the fourth density, or density or level of consciousness, has a lot to do with the idea of moving into a type of reality where you're no longer seeing yourself as an individual and as apart from, your surroundings, your ecosystem, your fellow humans. You're starting to see yourself more as one. And that is the beginning of what is known as unity consciousness. So the fourth density is the beginning of that. But there's still a lot of, people are still in their individual state of mind, but they're understanding and comprehending the idea of this collective unity consciousness. Now, the fifth density of reality has a lot to do with mastering the unity consciousness, or having our perception anchored in the concept of unity consciousness. And that's what distinguishes the different densities from the first to the fifth. So right now, humanity is in a transition from the third density to the fourth, fifth, and sixth. So everybody talks about the fifth density Earth, or the 5D Earth, which is beautiful. But what they fail to understand is that not every soul is going to be entering the 5D Earth reality. Most souls, unfortunately, due to their unacknowledgement of unity consciousness, are first going to be elevated into the fourth density consciousness, while a few of us that are doing the work, that are already actualized in the state of mind where we see everything as one, and we see that the universe functions as a unit of one, and that we are all connected through this field of energy, are going to be making it into the fifth dimensional reality. And then even higher than that, we have what we call the sixth density reality. Now, the sixth density reality, at that point, the different individuals who have graduated to that level of reality begin to become a collective. And that's what some would call a social memory complex. So at that point, our evolution is about becoming one with others, as far as unifying our mind as a collective, as a species, as a planetary species, while maintaining our individuality and keeping that in balance. So the sixth density is more about, becoming a social memory complex while maintaining your individuality, similar to the trillions of cells in your body. How, we have trillions of cells, and yet they all kind of work together to make you exist as a whole. So, but yet each cell retains their own individuality at the same time. They have their own individual sense of awareness, but at the same time, they work in unity and they work in cooperation in order to make the bigger organism function. And in this case, we are the bigger organism. So as we move up through densities, we become more unified. We become more like ourselves. We become more cooperative. At that point, we become a collective. And so people that reach the sixth density are no longer limited to their individual sense of awareness. At that point, their minds is one with everybody else. The whole species on that planet is one. They're part of a natural hive mind at that point. And then as they move into as they move into seventh density, they become complete. At that point, they are one unified single social memory complex. And at that point, they're able to choose to use their collective energies to become a planet. At that point, they ascend into the level of a planet. And so that's what an eighth density being is. An eighth density being is a planetary entity. So it continues, and that's how planets are formed. Planets are formed from a collective of six density entities that came together and formed a social memory complex to become a greater entity. So eventually we become a planet, just like the Earth was, once broken off into individualized units of consciousness, and then it became a collective. And then eventually, when we become a eighth density planet, we also have the opportunity to continue ascending, and then we become a solar system. At that point, many planets come together and form the mind hive of a solar system. And that's what is called the ninth density. So the ninth density intelligences are solar systems or solar entities that are still able to maintain their individual awareness and are able to manifest a physical form when needed. And then at the same time, if they go higher, then they become a nebula, which is a collection of stars. So the consciousness of a nebula is a social memory complex of many suns coming together as one. And then as they do that, they also unite with other nebulas to continue the ascension process to become the mind of a galaxy, or the collective of a galaxy. And that's what our galaxy is. Our galaxy is a 10th dimensional entity that is that has come together as a result of many nebulas coming together and forming one higher, consciousness field, which is our galaxy. And then in turn, our galaxy with other galaxies form a greater entity known as the universe. So that's known as the 12th density. So the galaxy is known as the 11th density entity, and then a 12th density entity is the consciousness of a universe, which is a collaboration of all these galaxies coming together to form a greater consciousness. And just like the trillions of cells in our body, that's how we exist. It's almost like the universe divided itself into 12 different densities or frequencies in order to experience itself on all these different levels of awareness and being. But ultimately, it's just one cosmic entity existing or fragmenting itself on 12 densities or 12 different fields of reality.
Wow, I've never heard it explained that way. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's how we're all one.
It's kind of like we're a microcosm in the macrocosm.
Absolutely. So we are the universe. There's no difference between a human and a universe. Yeah.
Correct. Awesome. Okay. I'm learning something. So, what are the different types of extraterrestrial civilizations?
According to science, and according to higher restored knowledge, all extraterrestrial civilizations fall under 5 categories. So the first one is a planetary system or a planetary society. And that is a society that is beginning to understand interdimensional physics. They're starting to understand free energy technologies. They're starting to implement anti-gravity aircrafts, so they're able to soar off into other solar systems. But they're at the beginning stage of that. Those are called interplanetary societies. And those are the most common. In our universe, there's like millions of those. And then the next category of advanced civilization is called stellar society. And those are civilizations.
That first category, are those like the UFOs that we see?
Yes, they belong to interplanetary societies and to stellar societies. So it's a combination of both, yes.
Okay.
Because an aspect, how can I say, within the private sector, we've already achieved type 2 status, which is stellar. We already have stellar technology, but that's just a different subject. It's called the Secret Space Program. However, in most cases, they are categorized under 5 different categories. And, there's interplanetary systems, which is beginning space age. There's stellar systems, which is advanced space age. That's when they are fully capable of reaching solar systems across an entire galaxy. And then the highest, I guess the third stage within a galactic system is known as a galactic society. And those are civilizations that are hundreds of thousands of years from a planetary system and a few thousand years from a stellar society. And those civilizations are the ones that exist within each galactic core. You know how each galaxy has a bulb of light in the center? That's where they reside. They're kind of they're part of that central, sphere where it's just luminous light. So they are so spiritually advanced. A type 3 galactic system no longer depends on external technology. At that point, the species of that civilization are so advanced that they use a type of consciousness technology where they infuse their energy into the elements and crystals, and that's how they're able to travel the different dimensional planes of reality into the different solar systems and to the different galaxies. So they're not limited to our galaxy. They're intergalactic. And then there is even a higher level than that. There's a type 4, which is universal. A type 4 society is able to not only exist within the galaxies within a local universe, but they're also able to coexist and interact with members of other universes. At that point, it's just all these different universes are coming together as one, cosmic society. And then the last stage, or the most advanced, is called a omniverse society, and that includes dimensions that are beyond the 12. So technically, we could also say that a type 1 consists of dimensions 1, 2, and 3. Type 2 consists of dimensions 4, 5, and 6. A type 3 consists of dimensions 7, 8, and 9. And a type 4 consists of dimensions 10, 11, and 12. And then a type 5, which is the highest and the most advanced, consists of dimensions 13, 14, and 15. So technically, beyond the local universe, then we still have the 13th level of reality, the 14th dimension, and the 15th, which is the omniverse. And that includes all that is. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, so the advanced civilizations that use external technology mainly operate from the third, fourth, and fifth dimension. Beyond the fifth dimension is all consciousness-based technology. They don't use external technology.
Okay.
It's all
so like the
spiritual.
UFOs that we're seeing, all these different, the footages and all of that coming through. Those are the fourth and fifth density alien.
Yes, they come from fourth and fifth density realities. Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay. So, as far as the Galactic Federation of Free World.
The Galactic Federation of Free Worlds is an alliance that took place millions of years ago between all these different humanoid races of a Type 1 and a Type 2, fourth density and fifth density realities that banded together to form some sort of a resistance against the expanding draconian Orion Empire. So millions of years ago, in our galaxy, there was a type of Star Wars scenario that unfolded, and nobody really knows about this. And that's one of the main things that I do touch upon when I wrote the book, is how the suppressed history of the Earth actually connects to the suppressed history of our galaxy. So basically what happened was these civilizations of a Type 1 and Type 2, who exist in harmonic universe number 1 and 2, came together to prevent this dark force from taking over the galaxy and bringing the entire galaxy under a totalitarian system of absolute domination and control. And so the first star nations of a fourth density reality and fifth density reality that banded together to combat the galactic empire of the Draco reptilian forces were the Lyrans, the Pleiadians, the people of the system of Hathor, Tasseti, Epsilon Eridani. I know some of these terms make no sense, but these are the different solar systems that were at the core and at the beginning of what became known as the Confederation of Planets. But eventually, as the Dracos pushed even more so their totalitarian agenda, more solar systems came into union and came to join the Federation, and that's when it converted from a confederation to a Galactic Federation of Free Worlds. And so the Galactic Federation of Free Worlds in our galaxy was established roughly about 5 million years ago, according to all records and all the downloads. And ever since then, they've been involved in this battle against this, evil galactic empire run by the Dracos, in order to protect the galaxy and prevent the war from reaching, 80% of the galaxy. So what the Federation did is they narrowed the battle down to just a single part of the galaxy, and then they finally pinned them down here in this planet, as to why our planet became quarantined about 12,000 years ago. That had a lot to do with how the Federation was winning the war in space, and how they just wanted to just nail the Dracos here on this world, or eventually checkmate them and win the final, battle that has now recently been won by the Federation in the last few years. So that's who the Galactic Federation is. They are our allies from space. They're our brothers and sisters, different humanoid races that are existing on fourth density realities and fifth density realities.
Who are the
I'm sorry, say that again?
Who are the Dracos?
The Dracos are they are the reptilian species that originated in Alpha Draconis, within the similar to the kind of like the devils in all religious traditions. They're like slit eyes, they have scaly skins. So they are the ones that originate in Alpha Draconis, which is part of the lower belt of Orion, and then from there they expanded into the Regal system, the Romulus system, eventually capturing surrounding neighboring star systems. And so they're the villain in their galaxy. They are the fourth dimensional entities that have been controlling the cabal here on Earth. So that's who the Draco are.
End game.
Well, the Draco are also the fallen angels, by the way. They're celestials that decided to follow. Yeah, so a lot of this ties into, the story of Michael and Lucifer. Lucifer, when he rebelled, there was a certain level of density where you manifest a physical form. So when they manifested a physical form, because there was a protocol that indicated that no fallen angels could inhabit an Adam Cadmon body, which is the human prototype that exists throughout the multiverse. So what they did is they biogenetically engineer a vehicle in which they could operate within the fifth density reality and eventually the fourth density reality. So that's how the first Dracos came to exist. Was the embodiment of these fallen angels, or the fallen angelics.
So are the fallen
That's
angels, you're talking about the Watchers, the Grigori, Azazel, and all them?
Yes, exactly. And they are also associated with the archons, those that did not incarnate, but are that took over the astral realm, or were kicked off into the astral realm from the higher dimensions.
Okay. What are the archons?
So the archons are the discarnated negative entities that for some reason weren't able to incarnate into a draconian reptilian bipedal vehicle. So they work hand in hand with the Draco. So collectively, they are pretty much the children of Lucifer. And then archons could also be associated with artificial intelligence, because when Lucifer realized that his creation wasn't as strong, they were being defeated by the galactic humans, who were all led by Michael the Archangel, because Michael the Archangel is actually at the head of all councils. All the Galactic Federation councils from billions of galaxies answer to Michael. Michael is kind of like the head honcho of the entire forces of light. So when the Draco realized that their own species were actually weak, they started building artificial intelligence in a universe that existed prior to the existence of our universe. And so the AI situation is actually something that many galaxies and many universes have been dealing with. So on a cosmic level, we could say that the real war is against this artificial intelligence. But on a galactic level, the war has been against the Draco, and then on a planetary level, the war is it's we the people versus the Cabal.
Okay. Well, this is a version I've never heard before, so this is fascinating to me. So what role does the Federation play in the ascension of our...
They play a very crucial and vital role. Because Earth is the most special planet in the entire multiverse, and the human species on the Earth, us, especially those that have incarnated as starseeds, are very important to the galactic councils and the cosmic community. The Federation has been monitoring and has pretty much been battling the invasion of the Dracos, because the Dracos infiltrated us during the times of Atlantis, and so the Federation has been here making sure that they don't openly take over the world. And that explains why the Dracos have been working from behind the scenes and have been using their Illuminati families to kind of push their agenda in our third dimensional reality. So the Federation has been here to make sure that agenda never came into fruition, as to why all the different empires were stopped, including the Roman Empire. And then, all the different attempts since then, the rise of Nazi Germany, the First and Second World War, and everything that's going on right now, is something that the Federation has been neutralizing, and in order to make sure that we partake of this healthy ascension. So they've been kind of making sure that we get to this point so that we can ascend. So they've been working from behind the scenes. But it also turns out that the Draco and the Zetas and some of the insectoids, which are the negative species out there, they violated the Prime Directive. They eventually gave Hitler the technology, and then they gave the shadow government the technology. And when they did that in the 50s, that's when the Federation had to really step in and give us technology, or at least the good people of the Earth through our Navy, in order for us to protect ourselves from these invaders. So that explains, the secret space programs and the different factions. Some are working for the Draco, and then one or two factions were actually there to counteract the Draco in order to protect humanity.
How do you feel the Federation is acting in regards to everything that's going on right now?
Well, them and the Earth Alliance have recently they have recently cleared out all the reptilian bases, not only throughout the underground facilities, but also throughout the solar systems. And for the last 20, 30 years, they've been actually instrumental in the defeat of what is known as the nefarious and the Dark Fleet, the Nazi Draco Alliance, and of course the Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate, which is a Rothschild Draco Alliance. So they were instrumental in defeating these negative secret space programs. And in order so that we could have a healthy ascension, right about any time now, we're actually just waiting for the solar flash. So they're also working with higher density beings. It's not just the Federation that's helping us in our ascension. Above the Federation, you have 6 density beings that are beyond technology and have a greater capacity than those of the Federation. And then beyond that, you have 7 density beings. So right now, our Earth is being assisted by councils of light that are beyond the 4th and 5th density levels of reality, all the way to the 12th.
Okay. Are they assisting in regards to, all the infringements upon our civil rights and that type of thing that's happening right now?
Yes, and absolutely. They're working from behind the scenes with the Earth Alliance and the White Hats to put an end to this tyranny that's been taking place and to finally, usher in a better world for humanity. And that has a lot to do with the disclosures that are going to be taking place, where governments of the world are going to be pushed into releasing their highly classified information.
Wow.
Regarding the use of free energy technology, healing modalities, and of course, technologies that are going to be beneficial to the cleaning up of our atmosphere and the healing of humanity.
Awesome. Looking forward to that. Okay, so who are the RH negative blood type?
That's a very good question, because a lot of people are always asking me about the difference between RH negative blood types and RH positives. So about 12 or 13% of the population are RH negative, and the difference between those blood types is the monkey rhesus protein, or the rhesus monkey antigen protein, which has a lot to do with the primitive genetics. And about 90% of the population are RH positive because somewhere along the line, they were corrupted with the primitive genetics of the Homo erectus. But 10% of the population, the reason that they're not RH positive and the reason that they have a undiluted type of blood that does not have any monkey protein or monkey genetics, is because those are the descendants of the royal house of, how can I say it? It's kind of hard to explain, but I guess I'm just going to let it out. Those are the descendants of the gods who existed in ancient times. And basically they were the Nibirians, the good ones, the ones that were in favor for humanity and acted as custodians and protectors of humanity. Kind of like Zeus and Osiris and Isis from Egypt. They had children, and their children had children, and they always maintained that bloodline pure by intermarrying among each other. So now 10% of the population are the descendants of that pure, uninterrupted celestial genetics that exist in our world. And that's why scientists, their heads get spinned, when they come to the realization that they can't trace any RH negative people to the indigenous people of this world. So they believe that it's a genetic strain that comes from somewhere else. That's what they've ruled, because they can't trace it to the indigenous of this world.
Wow.
So they are pretty much the aliens. They're the aliens that live among those that could be traced to the indigenous people of the earth.
Well, that was definitely a learning experience for me, I will say that. I love this. This is such a fascinating topic. Still there?
Do we have any questions from the viewers?
Don't see any yet. If you guys have any questions, shoot them on through.
Sorry, I'm trying to like fix my thing here, but it's not going to work. It's all right. I'm just going to have to take my computer to where I bought it and have them figure it out.
So Tony asks, who is Zeus?
Zeus is it was the Greeks translation of Enlil, who was the son of Anu. They are basically the Iberians, also known as the Anunnaki of ancient times. So the Anunnaki of ancient times were the extraterrestrials that came to the Earth approximately 450,000 years ago, due to the fact that their planet was leaked. You know, their atmosphere had a leak, and so due to some galactic war and some radiation that took place during this galactic war, it reached their atmosphere and it created a tear in their atmosphere, a hole. So they needed to find the supply that was going to patch it up. So that was one of the reasons why they came to the Earth. But you know, they also had many other reasons why they came to the Earth. So Zeus is no other than Enlil. Enlil, the son of Anu. Anu had two sons. He had Enlil and Enki. So Enki is also known as Poseidon to the Greeks, and Enlil is known as Zeus to the Greeks. But every ancient culture knew them by different names. And so in the Bible, in the first book, in the book of Genesis, their activities and everything that they did was kind of consolidated into this one God. And that had a lot to do when the negative Anunnaki, or the fallen Anunnaki, which were led by the son of Enki Poseidon, Marduk, that's when he kind of changed all the records and instituted this idea of patriarchy and, you know, in worshiping just one God. That's how it all started. Well, he wanted to be the God that was worshipped.
Mm. Yeah, that's why he killed Tiamat.
Yeah, so say that again?
That's why he killed Tiamat.
Tiamat. Well,
Yeah,
he killed a lot of...
Marduk. He killed Tiamat.
Are you talking about the planet that blew up, which is now the asteroid belt?
How will we know we reached 5D?
If you reach 5D, you're going to have amazing superhuman abilities. You'll know because you'll have access to abilities that would be considered, you know, godlike or superhuman to those that are still in the fourth density reality.
Would you consider 5D
entities
the same as Christ consciousness?
Well, yeah, they correspond. It's exactly correlated, you know. The more people become aware of the oneness, the unity of everything, that everything is sacred and that everything is one in the universe, the more that they're going to be able to reach 5D. So the powers are only associated with unity conscious and unconditional love. You know, those that are already anchored in unconditional love, no judgment, you know, seeing the God in everything and in every living thing, those are the ones that are going to be in the 5D reality.
Right. And that's in alignment with source consciousness. So once you're anchored in that's when the veil between human and source consciousness lifts, and then you operate from a place of source consciousness. You create your world as the creator.
Absolutely. Right. And that's what Jesus meant to say in the Bible when he said, "You will even do greater works than me." He was prophesizing about this fifth dimensional heaven on earth with metahumans, immortals.
Greater deeds than these ye shall do. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Ah, jinx, brother.
If you don't ascend on Christmas, can we still ascend after that?
Well, it all depends on the individual. You know, some people that have been doing the work for some time are already in the fifth dimensional reality.
Yeah.
While coexisting in the fourth and third density. But by the end of this year, a huge shift is coming that's going to catapult the entire collective into the fourth density. So by January, we will already be in the fourth density, and that is going to coincide with the disclosure of a lot of stuff.
Is that the great solar flare I keep hearing about?
Yes, some people call it the event. Yeah, it's been predicted and expected. So many believe that is as early as the end of the year. It's only a few months away. But, we shouldn't put dates on things, because nobody really knows when it's going to happen. But most people feel that it's going to be happening soon, sooner than later. But it's always best to be prepared, and it's always best to be grounded, to be mindful, and to really just monitor the way you treat others, because that's going to determine in which density you're going to be ascending into. Like I said earlier, some people are going to be going into the 6th density Earth. And then even a few small percentage are going to be going to the 7th D Earth, 8th D Earth, 9th D Earth. So what's happening is that, remember I was talking about the five harmonic universes? Mm-hmm. They're all going to coexist once again when this shift takes place. So we're going to have dimensions from all the way from 1 to 12 coexisting on one planet, which is going to be awesome.
Is that
it's going to be different types of
after the event? Because I'm not too familiar with the event.
Yeah, the event is coming in increments, but the major solar flash that's going to catapult the collective into the 5th density of reality has also a lot to do with restoring the different dimensional frequencies all the way up into the 12th density. And because this planet ultimately exists, it's got aspects of itself that exist all the way up into the 12th density.
Okay. What's supposed to happen physically after this solar flare or the event?
Well, we're still going to be physical. We're still going to have our sex organs. A lot of people have been messaging me about, are we still going to be able to, have intercourse? Are we still going to be able to eat foods? And all that's going to exist in the 5th density, except it's going to be up to us if we want to eat foods. We won't have to eat foods because we're going to be, our nourishment and our life force is going to be coming directly from the energy field, this intelligent force of energy that exists all around us, and of course the sun. But it's going to be up to you if you want to eat. That's going to be something that you can do. All you have to do is lower your frequency into the 4th D reality, and then you'll be able to partake in these delicious meals. But those that are in the 5th density reality, they're going to be living, they're going to be like breatharians. They're going to be living off of the sun's energies, the field around us, and everything. But yes, they're still going to be physical. Physicality exists all the way up into the 12th D reality. But it's a type of different physicality. Once you reach the 6th density and the 7th, it becomes more of an etheric matter, but still physical for those that are vibrating at that rate of vibration.
Wow. Okay. I did see a question come through that said, what's the best way to prepare for the event?
The best way to prepare is just to stay centered, to understand that there is no difference between you and creation, that you are the universe, and that every single one of us is an expression of the one. And so as long as you understand that, you're going to be treating people accordingly. You're going to be acting out of a pure unconditional love, no judgment, understanding, and at that point you're just going to be a beacon of light for others to follow as well.
Right. Yeah, the definition of love is to take something as yourself. So if you start seeing your fellow human as an extension of yourself, it gets kind of hard to treat that person bad. And that's kind of the hack for unity consciousness. Start seeing yourself in other people. Would you agree?
I absolutely agree. That's what I've been telling people. See others as different aspects of you. There is no difference. And that's why we mirror each other to one another. When people talk bad about others, it's because it's something in them that they need to heal or that they need to work through. It's a reflection of themselves.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah. So once we are in that pure unconditional state of love, at that point, you're just going to want to love everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the dominant frequency of source consciousness. So you're actually operating as source consciousness in that state.
Yes.
Very nice.
Absolutely.
I don't see any more questions. We are one reflection of each other. Absolutely. Yep. Alrighty, brother. Well, this has definitely been a informative and mind-expanding interview. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, David. I appreciate your time as well. And I'll be seeing you at the gym tomorrow, right?
Absolutely. It's leg day tomorrow, so hey.
Nice. For me, it's biceps, shoulders, and back.
Sounds like a party.
Well, the thing about being in the fifth dimensional reality is that even when you're working out, you're mindful and you're in that state of bliss. It's like you're fully aware, you're fully present, and that's one thing I want to share with everybody. Everything that you do, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, find the bliss, find the beauty in everything that you do, and do it as if there is no time, as if it's just one eternal now.
Exactly.
That's just my advice.
Because time is a man-made construct. People think time is linear. All possibilities exist now. And when you step into your world with the consciousness of everything, you can see the conscious awareness of everyone else becoming aware of you, even in inanimate objects. And that's what operating as the master of your reality in unity consciousness is really all about.
Absolutely.
All right, brother. Well, it was definitely fun.
Sweet. So I guess we're done. Are we at that hour?
We are back. Unless anyone has any more questions. You want to take some more questions? Let's see here.
If there is any.
I don't see any. All right, I guess that's it. All right, my man, I appreciate your time today.
All right, Dave. You're welcome, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow.
Absolutely. Namaste, brother.
Namaste. Have a wonderful evening.